crystal bell is ringing. A crystal bell is ringing out in the universe, out in the cosmos, heralding this beginning this morning of a wonderful gathering. And welcome if it's your first time here with me today. Let's do a clarification of purpose so that you know why things are the way it is when you come sit here with me. And also, before we begin, we give permission, because your permission is needed in your life for everything that you do, because life on earth is all about ownership. And when you are the owner, it always requires your permission. Everything requires your permission. Ownership always dictates by permission. So begin to give permission in whichever way you want. You can give permission. I normally say I give myself permission to receive my highest good, because my highest good really for me represents everything that is good for my life. And that's really what we want. We want what is good and what is going to serve us and what is going to make our lives function well. Because that's all we need. We just want things to work well and for things to be good, not just for us, but for everyone that we share our lives with. So when you give permission, also give permission this morning for what you want to receive from sitting here with me. You don't just come sit here and waste an hour of your time. That is not what the space is about. You need to give permission for the gift that you want to gift yourself. So if there's anything in particular that you're dealing with in your life that you would like to receive guidance on, that you would like to receive something that's going to shift it for you, give permission for it to happen this morning and be pleasantly surprised. So there are things that I insist on, and you may wonder why, especially when I ask for an email address, because people immediately become suspicious when your email address is asked, because they're thinking, what is my email address going to be used for? Is it going to be, oh, Gail, can anybody else hear me? Or is it just Gail that can't hear me? Can everybody else hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Awesome, awesome. Gail, perhaps what you need to do is just to check out and come back in again. And then let me just see. Gail says she can't hear me. Gail, just check out and come back in again and see if it works, because it seems that it's working for everyone else. I haven't had any other complaint that because it shows that I'm doing well here on my side. My mic is giving me the green light. So sometimes you just need to check out and come back in again and see if that works. So let me continue. The things that I insist on that you may wonder why, and that is that I ask for your email address. WhatsApp is not an option for me to communicate my presence in the world. People always, I also refuse to use WhatsApp voice notes, because what I'm busy with is for me sacred and divine. And what I'm busy with requires that I am personally engaged. And when you use the technology, when you use the things that compromises the way that you can communicate yourself and the way that you can use the space to become present, you will notice that technology continuously engage us and encourage us to compromise on our presence. So I use personally engaged messages to invite you here for your presence. And I send it via a personally engaged message so that you will know that your life itself is asking for your presence. I do not rely on someone else or something else to do it for me. I make sure that I do it myself. So at the end of 2012, the Mayan calendar ended. What does that mean? It means that they were no longer able, it was no longer possible for this advanced race that predicted the passage of time on Earth to do so anymore. Why? Because it took 8 years from 2012 to 2020. From 2020, the entire globe shifted into what we term now the new normal. And that means, if you look at what the new normal means, seeing that the Mayan calendar ended at 2012, when the new normal happened, there was no more time and no more space. And we're now operating in what is called real time. Real time is, and you will notice with real time what real time means and what real time represents. So many people have such a problem with now these days with keeping time. And with keeping time means that time can no longer be kept. It must be respected. So where I encounter a disregard and a disrespect of time, I know and I avoid this, whether it be company, space, people, places, because where time is no longer respected, it means that there's going to be a big void in other values being offered and being respected as well. Because what we now need to know is that some fundamental things have changed in the way that we can approach and in the way that we can conduct ourselves and in the way that we can live life. And unless we integrate this and unless we know this, our lives will not work. So first of all, the I as we know it, right? I'm not very good at illustrating things on the screen, but the I as we know it. Here's the I. It always was illustrated as the I, and there's a dot at the top. And if you think about it carefully, I've drawn in a little dotted line here, which is the two arms of the body, and there's the two legs at the bottom, and there's the head. And this I has now become the I. It's no longer the I as in the individual. It is the I as in the consciousness and the awareness. And this I presents us here with an umbrella. So this umbrella is amazing because it protects everything down below. This awareness gives you the protection and the awareness for this, your life, the body, to work well. And if you see that this has now become not the I, but the oneness, because when the I, and it also says in the Holy Scriptures that when the two eyes become one eye, that is when you, I don't want to quote anything, but that is when you truly start to see and to know the wonder of life. So the I as we know it has now become the I. And you need to now more than ever to see the value of your presence, because I insist on your presence as a gift of power to life. Your presence is a gift of power to life. And life itself at the moment needs your presence. It needs your power to function and to continue. And it's not going to rely on just anyone. It's going to rely on the presence of power that knows thine eye, that can see and operate with the awareness of truth. Because the real is shared with the word. And the word is compromised by technology, because where we come from, our roots as the human race, as human beings, the real is shared with the word, and the word is by word of mouth. And in order to receive the word, you need to be present. So the word is compromised by technology. Our technology on earth compromises us more and more and more than ever. than any one of us can begin to imagine, because we are conditioned in a very subtle way to give up the power of our presence. Of our presence. Our presence is our participation, and participation is the only way that you can actually have an experience that you belong. And to belong is a human intrinsic need that can only be satisfied by your presence. Because time and space is no more, all that is left now is frequency and vibration, the very energy with which everything operates. Because if we bring it down, and I was very blessed to go to the United States many years ago to go and study the relationship between quantum physics and spirituality. And we now, when we listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza, when we listen to Dr. Bruce Lipton, when we listen to Dr. Greg Braden, these are wonderful teachers, and they all teach us to now acknowledge the relationship between what we call the material world and quantum physics, and how that is all interrelated, because life itself is carefully observing who is present and what energy is being shared, how it is contributed, where energy of value and contribution is present, so is life. And it's being said to us in other forms, and in other words, in religious context, it says, where two or more are gathered in my name, I shall be present as well. And in this instance, the energy of value and contribution, where that is present, so is life. And life cares for life. It preserves itself, and all that offers custodianship. What is custodianship? That which is preserving, that which is of value. Wherever there is custodianship of this sacred present, life, the Holy Spirit, if you like, life force, all of that is the breath. When something stops breathing, whether it's an animal, whether it's a plant, whether it's any living organism, it's all in the breath. And the breath is that sacred presence. That is life, the Holy Spirit, life force, if you like. And the absence of that breath is death. And where it is absent, there's no presence. It can only be present. Life and the breathing that happens, the exchange of that sacred energy that cannot be observed with this eye. It's got to be observed with awareness. In the absence of that, there is only death. And you will see in the way that technology conditions us, more and more this presence is absent. And what we see is only a slow decay, a slow dying of the power of the present moment, of being present. We have been conditioned to give up our present in favor of distractions, of menial, minuscule, I need to go to the shops, I need to go do this. So our priorities become contaminated with materialism, the things that is not going to sustain us. It's not going to carry us forward beyond time and space, because there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. We now need to go beyond the sun. We need to go beyond the stuff that we have been conditioned, that we have been shown, that we have been experiencing as materialism, as this physical world. And so many people are now only focusing on this physical world. What can I get? What can I now? What can work for me? What's in it for me? Based on what is physical and what is in this material world. And very often, your presence is going to be, you're going to be placed, you're going to be taken into situations that you're going to feel is toxic, is terrible, is unbearable. But remember, sometimes you are sent on an assignment, and your energy is needed in that space in order for whatever beyond the sun, you can't see there, beyond what you can understand or perceive. Your energy is needed there because life needs you. Life needs your presence there. And then once your assignment is complete, you will be magically extrapolated from that space. You'll be magically removed. Everything will just fall into place and you'll be able to move on. So yeah, on a Sunday morning as an energizer, I'm doing my utmost to instill the real and the true values of old that is passed on by word of mouth, by sitting and listening and being present in the moment to what is true and what is real. I'm not making any claims here. Your life is your message. You're going to go away from here this morning and you're going to go and live your life. Your life will show you the value of what you receive when you sit and listen and be present with a teacher and a true master that's going to serve you. Because it's not about being a master and sitting on a pedestal. A master is the one who does the work. A master is the one who picks up the underpants and does the washing. A master is the one who serves. If you read the book of Murdat, I don't even know if it's still in print. It's one of the greatest books I've ever read. It was a gift to me many, many, many years ago. The book of Murdat teaches you about the value of being a master. The true master is the servant, is not the one who sits on the throne. You, as the one who's sovereign in your reality, you sit on your throne, and in your reality, you need to rule in your sovereignty because your permission is needed for everything that happens in your life because there's no other reality like yours. So this past Monday was a very special day for me. It was agreed with Stanley that I will offer another Energizer this week. Energizer is a free platform where you are offered the experience of living with attention and presence that requires you to participate in the moment. Because we mostly live in the past, in our heads, or we live in the future. We have not learned the power of the moment. And that's one of the most beautiful books, very difficult read, but The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is written extensively over it. And he used to grow tomatoes. He was a tomato farmer as far as I know. And when he received the message to write the book, The Power of Now, he said to Spirit, but what can I teach about the power of now? Everybody knows it already. And he wrote The Power of Now, and it's been translated into every language on this earth. So the impact of the present moment consciousness. Life happens in this moment. And social media steals much living from us because it teaches us to be absent. We just listen to a recording and we'll still get it. No, you don't get the same. Why? Because when you are present, your frequency and your vibration is contributing to the message because you need to choose where you are going to be present with discernment because your energy and your vibration is utilized in that space in order for the bigger picture to manifest. So what do you get listening to a recording? Life cannot see you in a recording. Life cannot feel your energy when you're listening to a recording because when a recording is playing, it's not the present moment. That is simply just technology offering you a regurgitation of that present moment, but that's not the real present moment. So I want to start by reiterating some of the things that we need to know at the start of this new cycle called 2023 in lieu of what I'm sharing with you because I'm just creating the platform and the foundation for us to start building the building. You cannot build a building of 100 and there's going to be buildings with 100 and 200 and 300 and 400 and 500 floors still on this planet. The buildings will just go higher and higher. Some things we need to know because you can't build a building and start with the 100th floor. You've got to start with the ground floor. So I know you can do anything. I know you can do anything. This is one of the things that you need to know at the start of this year. This is what life wants you to say. I know that you can do anything. I know it. Your abilities and your power is unlimited. Your thoughts will not support you to feel this. You must know that. The thoughts that are happening in your head will not support you to feel this. There are too many opposing unconscious decisions preventing true alignment. And when we go back to the drawing of the eye as we know it, as this head, this eye here has now been removed. It's not there anymore. We can't sit in our heads. We now need to go into our consciousness and to our awareness, because the thoughts that are happening in your head is repeated. And if you go listen to all of the people in the know, even Dr. Joe Dispenza, we can listen to Deepak Chopra. We are having approximately 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day that happens in our head, of which about 95% is repeated. You probably have about 5,000 original thoughts a day. The rest of them are just on a repetitive cycle. Why? Because of how the neuroscience functions and how the neural pathways in your brain is established through the depositing of protein along the synapses. And that's another story. But, Dr. Nelly can tell us about that in more detail. But we now need to see and feel. You need to see and feel yourself. It's imperative, because there are too many unconscious decisions preventing true alignment. The eye is now the eye. We need to look and we need to see. We've got to get mind and body to work together. The Bebo effect. The being and the body needs to be integrated, and we need to learn new things and have new experiences. We are designed to interact with our environment, and we need to constantly initiate. Your behaviors must match your intent. So when you initiate something, what you do and the actions must support the intent with what you started. Your actions are very often determined and even governed by your thoughts. And the thoughts that are happening in your head are not thoughts that are in your favor. They are thoughts that are constantly telling you about lack and how much you're not good enough and how inadequate you are. And we're going to go into that a little bit more so that you can place it into context, so that this coming week you'll be able to live with a completely different approach and a different sense and energy that prevails. That's your behaviors can match your intent, and what you initiate can give you a pleasant surprise. So mind and body then works together, and you can go and watch a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. He also elaborates on this beautifully, and he's also a man that teaches from his own experience. He had a very bad accident. He was told that he'll never walk again, and he's a chiropractor, but he actually restored himself and he's fully functional today, only with using the power of his mind and the power of intent and initiative. So knowledge is for the mind and experience is for the body. The body constantly seeks to experience. That's why we feel pleasure in the body. We feel things in the body. The body wants to experience. That's why you're given a body, because you are pure consciousness, but you come into this body in order to experience the physical reality, the physical matter. It's not meant to become the overall and determining factor of your life. It's meant for you to have an experience. Now, what comes with experience is the need to understand things. The need to understand something limits it. You cannot continuously force yourself to want to understand. Why? Why is this happening? Why not? Why this? Why that? No. Understanding is a booby prize. The way that understanding works is that it's something that you receive right at the end. And if you turn the word around, just like you can turn the word responsibility around, it's your ability to respond. And understanding is when you stand under what you have constructed with your intent, with your actions, and with your thoughts, because it's always a construct, there's always a result, and then you can stand under it. So that comes right at the end. You will always be given understanding, even if it's years later, when you can say, oh, now I understand. And so many times when you say, now I understand, you end up laughing at yourself because what you needed to see was right here in front of you. And you didn't see it because you were too busy analyzing it to understand what's going on. And when you actually surrender and when you realize, let me trust the process of my life because I need to trust myself because I'm sovereign. I'm sitting on the throne. I'm making all the choices. I'm doing all the thinking. Nobody's doing it for me. Even if we led to believe that that is so, it's not. So give yourself a break today and accept that understanding will find you. It's not something that you need at the onset before you start. You're not going to be able to continue your life by insisting that you must first understand before you can go forward. No, you've got to first accept what is, and you've got to accept ownership in this process, and then you use the initiative, and the initiative will then give you the power of intent, because coherence is rhythm, is order, is synchronization. And we choose to operate with the hormones of stress. And we're living in stress. And we're living in a state of constant survival. You know, when I studied with the Americans and Dr. Claire Graves and Chris Cowan came here, Dr. Chris Cowan, I think it's about 10, 12 years ago, when we did the work of spiral dynamics, which is a value system, which is basically like, like the hierarchy of needs. But this is a value system. And they were arguing, and they said that, living in survival is no longer a value system that is prevalent on the earth. And I chose to differ with them. I said, in most of the consciousness of people, they are still living in a value system of pure survival, simply just finding the next piece of food to eat in order to survive, to see the next day. And that's a very primitive nervous system that operates basically just in fight or flight. And the nervous system, when you are stressed and worked up, you are always trying to predict the outcome. You always want to predict the future. And you place tremendous pressure on your thinking and on your thoughts to give you the answers and to predict the future, to predict the outcome. You place so much pressure on yourself. It is sometimes inhuman to see what people do to themselves, to have to know how. Now, the how is not your business. Isn't that an amazing thought, an amazing concept that I want you to put into proper context in your life today? The how is not your business. If you are going to be present, and when you are giving permission for your highest good, and when you are in your intent and the way that you send that energy, that frequency and vibration into your future, the how is revealed to you every step of the way. You will be shown what to do. You will be shown where to move to. You will be shown what job to go to. You will be shown. Life do not operate under emergency chemicals. Living is not done under emergency chemicals. The how will be shown to you. Shifting from one thing to the other, feeling scattered, feeling incoherent. That's the result when you're living on emergency chemicals. What is an emergency chemicals? It's the adrenaline, which is constantly being released by your adrenals in order to give you the fight or flight syndrome. You're no longer synchronized. You're no longer in alignment. The higher consciousness and the body is missing each other, and you can feel that because it feels like you don't have a grip on your own life anymore, and everything is just all over the place. And the more it goes all over the place, the more scattered you feel, and the more you feel that you're so thinly spread that you're going to break up into little pieces, and the unity is lost. And you no longer feel this oneness, because we crave that oneness in ourselves. Oneness is not becoming one with another person. Oneness is not this thing that people think, here's two lives. Here's two lives. So we've got one life here and we've got another life there. And when we love each other, we're going to become one. And when you become one like that, what happens to the one person? One of us has to disappear in order to experience that oneness. The oneness that we talk about here in terms of being one with yourself, with life, with the process, is a beautiful synchronicity where there's an umbrella. There's a sacred umbrella here which holds you, which protects this part of you, this material part of you, because the eye of life is seeing you. It's seeing you. It wants to preserve you because life cares for life. And this, when you lose yourself, you feel lost. You feel stuck. You feel anxiety. You feel anxious all the time. Your heart is palpitating. You feel this panic. You want to just hide away. You want to just escape from it all. I feel I can just get in my car and just drive and drive and drive and drive until I don't see anything or anyone again. And life just becomes a place where you want to escape from. And when your heart functions incoherently, you stop trusting yourself. The heart sends inconsistent messages to the brain. And when your heart is calm, aligned, and nurtured, you send stronger and stronger messages to the brain. Because the heart, it's been proven, the heart has its own consciousness. And you can go and look at the work that's being done at the Heart Math Institute. These are not woo-woo statements. They are scientific. They have been scientifically proven. There's scientific papers written about what I'm sharing with you here this morning. The heart has its own consciousness. It has its own will. And the heart needs to align with the brain. The brain is a physical thing. It's going to decay when this body dies. When the breath no longer sustains this body, it's going to decay. It's going to die. And so does the brain. But there's something more than that. Think beyond the limitations and challenges in your immediate environment. You've come to Earth. Earth is a very, very, it's a school of hard knock. It's a penal colony where the worst of the worst of the worst and the lowest of the lowest of vibrations operate. You are here in order to change that. The earth, life on earth is waiting for the ones that is going to realize this, because it only takes one to change the entire planet. It always only takes one, because in that one is found the oneness. And when that one brings the oneness, everything can change. Why isn't that one you? That's why I'm asking for your presence here, because if we can all come together as one, just for an hour on a Sunday morning, and just listen to what we can bring about in ourselves and share it with intent out there into the world, you can be the one. Your sovereignty can be the permission to change everything for everyone. Think beyond the limitations and challenges in your immediate environment. Make things a priority that is going to sustain you to become liberated, freed from your materialism, from having to have from having to focus on what's lacking and what's still missing, because there is nothing missing ever. Everything is provided. Look at your life to date. All of you in this forum, look at your life to date. When you look at your life that you've lived up until this moment, you have always been given everything that you need to get through, even though it felt at the time that you're not going to make it, that this is the end, this is not, now I'm going to sink, now cancel that thought, but you always got through it. You always saw it through. You always got the support to get you to the other side of that obstacle. And to create something new, you need to go beyond your current personality. Your current personality, and please, I say this with absolute love and respect. Your current personality is mostly made up of self-pity motivators. Self-pity motivators. And can I share with you some of the self-pity motivators that I've encountered in my life so far? I'm invisible. I live under the yoke of a dark depression that I cannot control. It's not up to me. I feel worthless. I'm a reckless runaway. I'm mean and I'm ugly. I'm undesirable. I'm unlovable. I'm miserable. I'm rejecting. I'm sick. I'm small. I'm belittled. I'm threatened. I'm a super bitch. I betray. I reject. I'm lazy. I'm absent. I'm disappointed. Self-pity motivators, and they motivate you to feel sorry for yourself, to feel like you have something wrong with you. Get beyond your analytical mind and get beyond your personality to create something new. Let it be the start this morning. In order to have what you've never had, do what you've never done. And, it's not possible to quote everyone that said everything. So, it's out there in the ethers. We need to bring that into our consciousness so that it can serve us, because that's what truth does. Truth serves you. But be careful, because there's a difference between the facts and the truth. And the wonderful lady in Iyanla Vanzant, she shares it so beautifully. There's a difference between fact and truth. I'm not going to pursue that right now. I just want to plant that seed with you. Facts, let me just give you a quick example. The fact is, I'm a single mother and I have got so much on my plate and I'm really battling and I have to raise my children without the support of a father. The truth is, you are powerful and you are more than capable and you can do this, and you have everything you need in order to succeed. That's the truth. There's many facts that can lead us to self-pity motivators. Many. But don't become motivated by your self-pity because you believe in things that is totally illusion, because you call them facts. Look at the truth. The truth is the things that cannot change. They have been the same. You can go listen to Socrates. You go listen to Plato. You go listen to the teachings of Buddha. You go listen to the teachings of Shiva, of Krishna. The same. It's the same truth. It runs through eternity and it will never change. Why? Because that's what is. What is cannot change. It can only change in the next moment. But truth is what gives us the guarantee to trust the process. Truth is what gives us the guarantee to trust ourselves. That's the only place where you're going to find guarantees, is in that which is timeless. You have a mind that is timeless, that is beyond time. The next time we gather, I'll read to you the words of time. Beautiful. So see the possibilities that you have never seen before. That's our challenge every day, to see the things that we've never seen before, because that's why we're on earth, to make known the unknown, to make known that which has never been known before. Feelings act as a barometer for change. You are not your feelings. Feelings act as a barometer of change, and feelings takes you to a place of emotion where you generate a frequency and a vibration, which is an emotion, an energy in motion. And that motion is what creates the material world that we live in. That which is emotion becomes that which we perceive to be this glass of herbal water. This, by the way, is just water with some bay leaves in it. It's wonderful for your body. Cheers. Wonderful things in the Cosmic Kitchen, and it's really so easy to obtain. And the same with rosemary. Fresh rosemary boiled as a tea with a bit of honey, the most wonderful remedy for your body. Cheers. So use your feelings as a barometer of change. It's not who you are. Who you are is the frequency and the vibration that you create because of the feelings that you have. And Joe Dispenza says there's 3 things that we need to consider when we live our everyday life. Dr. Joe says it's the body, the environment, and time. And he shares the most interesting thing, which I never considered. He says, see and feel yourself. And I'm still going to get to the moment that I want to share with you. Let's just go through this. He says, see and feel yourself, but start with patience. And then the immediate thought in the head, the immediate thought that happens, oh, I'm so impatient. How am I supposed to? How? Immediately, the answer is how, because that's how you're conditioned to think. You always want to know how. The how is not your business. You need to be willing, and you need to be available, and you need to have the capacity. The how will be shown to you every step of the way. That's how you make known the unknown. The how is revealed through the process of life, not from having it up front, like a recipe or a method. That's what's conditioned us. That's what we think is the how. We must have the recipe, the formula. What happened before that recipe existed? Where did you get that recipe from? From someone before you who had the guts and the courage to be present and to listen to what's happening in the now. And that's how I cook in the Cosmic Kitchen. I go into the kitchen and then I just start, and I'm told, add this, put that with it. And sometimes I think, ooh, and it always comes out wonderfully. And it always ends up being absolutely divine because I listen. And the Cosmic Kitchen is a place where we're all operating every day, because your kitchen is an imperative part of your life. Nobody functions without some form of a kitchen, even if it's just an open fire outside. It's a kitchen. And the Cosmic Kitchen is the place of your nurturing, is the place where you go. And that's why I also have a Facebook page called Cosmic Kitchen, because Cosmic Kitchen is where we cook up soul food. And we've got to do it with patience. And you ask me, how? When you accept what is. Not because you like it, not because it works for you, but it's what is. The moment you accept what is, you have patience, endless patience to change it, to bear with it until it's going to change in the process of your life by itself. But its patience is acceptance of what is, of yourself, of others, of life. And then it's important to feel prosperous. How? Because you need to know that all things are possible. We are no longer under this, we're no longer in a place where we're operating, there's nothing new under the sun, because that's what your psyche has been taught to believe. There's nothing new under the sun, same old, same old. We're now in a state of no time and space. We've gone beyond the sun. The sun no longer dictates the 24 hours in which we live. We have gone beyond the sun. You need to know, you need to feel prosperous, not because there's a how, not because you've got physical evidence of all the coins in a Hessian bag under your bed. No, because you know all things is possible for you, and that life has warehouses full of wonderful things with your name, with your fingerprint on it. Why? Because you've given permission for it, and because it's your birthright. This is a planet of abundance. It's a planet of bounty. Just go and look at a fruit tree when it bears fruit. It has a bounty. It offers so much. Be healthy. How? Don't just think of health in terms of your physical body. Think of health in terms of your consciousness, of the way that your neural pathways in your brain is firing and the synapses in your brain is responding. Think of yourself as self-regulating, as self-serving. You need to serve yourself. We are only here to serve each other. There's no other purpose in life for us as human beings. Our only life purpose is to serve. And how do you serve? By caring, giving. And that's why we're here to learn love. And that's why everybody says there's only two emotions, fear or love. Because love encompasses all caring, giving. And caring, giving encompasses all the things below: reassurance, appreciation, consideration, generosity, unconditional love, compassion. I can go on and on and on. It's all there. Be healthy. Illness is not something that permits you to rest. Most people use illness as a legal permission to rest. If you need to rest, rest. There's been written in the Holy Scriptures, and the way that this planet was designed is that we need to rest one day a week. Animals all rest. You watch them, they'll all rest. My dogs even, there's one day in the week that they just don't eat. They rest their whole digestive system. They don't eat. They rest. And when you do that, and you honor and respect the way that things work here, it's worked that way before you came, before you arrived, before you were born, before I was born. And remember, please, I need to say this to you over and over. I'm not here to tell you what's wrong with you. I'm not here to tell you how you should and shouldn't. I'm not in any way intent on doing any of that. I teach best what I need to learn most. That's why I'm doing this, because I'm teaching myself. When I'm listening to my word, I'm thinking, oh yeah, you didn't do it over there, and that's where it's missing, because I'm also teaching myself. I'm self-regulating, and I realize now that I make it an absolute. And it's so difficult to do, but there's one day in the week, even if it's just half a day, where I need to rest. And how do you rest? You've got to be self-regulating and self-serving by giving you some time to rest, to recharge, just like you have to charge your cell phone and charge the battery. It's not going to continue working for you if you don't give it. What happens while it's charging? It's resting over there. Some people don't even give their phone time to rest. They've got it on the charger and they're still busy with the phone. Give your phone some time to rest, just like you need to rest. The next one is to be happy. We're supposed to be happy, but not happy in the way that we've been conditioned. Be happy to be unhappy. Be happy to know that you give your best and that you're enjoying your work, even though it doesn't make you feel happy. Work hardly ever makes anyone feel happy. Work needs to get done. And even if you don't feel like it, even if I don't feel like it, I do all my own housework. I need to do the washing. I need to wash the dishes. I need to clean out. And with two puppies that are still growing up, I can tell you it's a lot of housework. They keep me on my toes these days, because when I was living alone, it was so easy. Everything just stayed beautifully in place. And this morning, before I started Energizer, they've been eating bones. My whole office floor is full of bones and chips and up. Oh, yeah. So I'm very glad that we're on the screen, that I don't have to receive you in the front room where we do our gatherings. So we can enjoy our work, because what you need to see as work as where you go to contribute your presence. Your presence is needed there to change whatever's going on there. Your presence is the magic that life needs. Life needs your presence in order to make a difference, in order to change what's going on. And then we go into loving relationships. Loving relationships is not having someone who's going to tell you 10 times a day how much they love you. Loving relationships is consideration and generosity. We need to be considerate of each other. There's no compromise in a loving relationship. Compromise only takes you to resentment. Loving relationships is about consideration. Even if I don't like it and it doesn't make me happy, I need to consider what's going on here. I need to consider it with generosity, not just with giving this much. I need to be generous with myself and my presence, my intent, my caring, giving. And that doesn't mean that you need to become one of these, hey? You're not there to wipe up and clean after everybody. That's not what loving and caring means. You're not a Scoopy and a little brush that's going to come and they all stand and watch you with their hands on their hips. Are you finished yet? And how much are they learning when you constantly come and clean up after their bodies and pick up all the shit that they've created? Nothing. And if they learn nothing, they're not going to grow, and they're certainly not going to be considerate or generous. So let the eye see what it is that you do. Loving relationships is about reassuring each other. On Monday night when I sat with Stanley, he reassured me and he said, do an Energiser, we're coming to support you. That's reassurance. Because it's very difficult to be the one who brings the truth. Nobody wants to listen. They want to hear what's going to feel nice, what's going to make them happy, what's going to make them feel good. And they don't want to give up an hour. No matter where they are, they can listen to this on their phone for an hour. No matter where they are. They don't want to give up living the material life just to come listen for an hour. How I can energize my spirit for the next week. No, it's too much time. You can send me the recording. Thank you. And these days I find that people won't even ask for the recording anymore because I need to offer it. I need to offer and say, here's the recording. You can listen to it. Because then they don't have to feel the feelings that they'll feel because of their own absence. Then I make it okay for them to be absent. No, I don't make it okay for you to be absent because I need to teach you that life is depending on your presence. And if you're not going to be present, don't expect to receive, because if you're not present, you can't receive. You can't receive in a recording. You need to be present. So whatever you wish for, must open and receive. And I'm going to close the session today because I've still got a few of my own notes, but I want to close the session today. I want to read to you from a book that I bought when I was in the United States. And it was written by a man by the name of Wes Beavers. I don't think it's one of those books that were a bestseller or anything. I just picked it up from the shelf. So I want to read to you what he says. Our lives are full of times when we are faced with the reality of our inadequacies. What are we to do? Here is the number one rule. Never incubate your inadequacies. Never nurture your shortcomings. Never coddle your failures. Don't dwell on your misfortunes. If you do so, it's straight to the poorhouse for you, the clubhouse of pity parties. Going through an ordeal. I thought my parents were heartless. And very often when people sit with me in a one-on-one session too, when they go through an ordeal, they think I'm being heartless, uncaring, and incapable of having compassion with their situation. And I encourage you to carry on with life as though the trauma in your life is not a big deal. I never give you the go-ahead to consider yourself as a victim. I never give you the go-ahead to make it okay when you make yourself absent. You know, and you can think, and people get very angry with me because they think, you know, Charlotte doesn't even commiserate with me. She doesn't understand. What kind of a person is she? In retrospect, though, they all come back to me and they say to me, it was the best thing that happened to me. And sometimes I'm surprised by it because I think, oh, you know, this person must hate me so much because I tell all that you receive here is the truth. So the last thing that you need is a green light to feel sorry for yourself. And these days, people love to go where they are told what they want to hear. Don't listen and don't go to places where you're going to be told what you want to hear. That's not good for you. Go to where you're going to be given the truth. So, not that I didn't feel sorry for myself. I became quite adept at following and throwing pity parties. The one problem was that the only one to show up at the party was me. And I did not like the person I was becoming. Sure enough, I figured it was not the absence of anything, but the presence of bad attitude that made my life ugly. The presence of bad attitude that made my life ugly. And when you throw a pity party, like he says here, you are the only guest at the party. You're the only one who goes to the party. No one shows up for your party. You're all by yourself. And then you can't experience yourself as belonging, which is an intrinsic human need. We all have it. We all have two basic intrinsic needs. You want to belong and you want to feel like an example. And if you throw a pity party and no one shows up, you can't belong and you also can't feel like an example. So be generous and be gracious to yourself about your imperfections. You know, you've got things about you that you don't like. Someone said to me the other day, I have a very, very dark side. I said, there's no exclusivity in that. We all have that dark side. We all have that aspect of ourselves, and that's what Dr. Carl Gustav Jung calls the shadow. In reality, you know, no one else cares. No one else cares. Wake up to the fact that nurturing your shortcomings is what disadvantages you. It becomes a self-pity motivator. Not the shortcoming itself. Get the picture. Not the thing, but the way that you intend the thing to go forward into your life, to go and create the how. Don't fill your dents with laments. And nothing highlights a dent more than filling it with your laments. What is a lament? It's those pity party songs. When you're lamenting, you're singing all these pity party songs. Perfection has never been a prerequisite for prosperity. And let me tell you, perfection really does not exist. If things were perfect, there would be no change on earth. Things are not perfect. They are whole and complete. They're not perfect. They are whole and complete. They are meant as they're meant to be. So he says, don't look for peace in someone else's head. Isn't that an amazing concept? Don't look for peace in someone else's head. You will never find peace in someone else's head. You will never fulfill your destiny as long as you are tyrannized by what other people think of you. Our desire to be accepted by others conditions us to look for peace in someone else's head. We think, if only I could be accepted by that individual or crowd or thing. And look at social media. It's all about being the influencer, having the people that's approving of you. That's the human intrinsic need, belong, an example. And people looking up at you and thinking that you're wonderful. You'll see on my pages where if you find me on social media, it is truly a wonder of nature, because I don't do social media as a norm. But you'll see there's not much crowdedness there. It's not for the masses. If only I could be accepted, then it would be easy to accept myself. So, to this end, we do things to compensate. When you compromise and you compensate for your so-called imperfections, you purchase a stylish car that you can't afford, or you get a cosmetic surgery, or you diet compulsively, or you're constantly looking at all the things in your life that's lacking, and that's why you can't have a good life, and why you can't, the bounty of the earth is only for everybody else, not for you. The sun doesn't choose who it wants to shine upon. The fruit tree doesn't choose who can eat its fruit. The beautiful rose doesn't blossom only because there's certain people that may see its beauty. It's not how it works here. So all the while we think that by engaging in such activities, we will gain the approval of other people, and thus be more able to accept ourselves. Because if you get the approval from others, surely then I'm okay. No, you're more than okay. Find peace in somebody else's head. It never works. Peace is best found amidst your imperfections, by accepting what is, accepting those things about yourself. It doesn't mean that they don't have to change, and they don't become an excuse. Your excuses is your self-pity motivators. I'm telling you now, the minute you have an excuse, the minute you make excuses on behalf of somebody else, you're in trouble. Accept the truth. The excuse is the fact. It's a fact. You know, right now I don't have time, and I don't have money, and it's fact. But what is the truth? I'm not giving myself permission. I'm not truly living the power that I am. Whatever, there's many truths about you that you still need to discover. Just look at 1 hour this morning. You've given me 1 hour of your life from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And look at how many realizations and insights you've had about your life. And how much more you are energized to face another week and to see this life through, because it's very difficult times. It's not for sissies. The fact that you are here now at this time shows how powerful you are. To be able to rise and to elevate yourself out of the cesspit that reality has created of life. Life is wonderful, but reality is shit. So identify your vulnerable times. I'm almost done. Identify your vulnerable times. Even though you may have slain the demon of your imperfections, sometimes you'll still feel his breath. And generally the combination of being physically tired, because we get very tired here. You're carrying so much on your shoulders. We get very tired. And the length of time since your last victory can lead you to revisiting your imperfections, because there's a gap. You know, I haven't experienced myself as vitalized and with a zest of life and feeling amazing for so long. And then you look at that gap that's in between from the last time you experienced that to where you are now. And sometimes that gap can stretch for years. And then you revisit your imperfections. You revisit your lack. You revisit all the self-pity motivators, your excuses, your justifications for why you are no longer sovereign. Sovereign means the ruler, the one who gives permission, the one whose authority determines the outcome. Resist becoming a casualty of your vulnerable moments. You are a vulnerable organism. If your body gets damaged, it bleeds and it dies. Resist becoming a casualty of your vulnerable moments. You are vulnerable, full stop. As above, so below. in your body, in your consciousness, in your soul. You are vulnerable. Guys, please forgive me. I don't read the notes when you communicate with me on the side there. But thank you so much for your participation. It's wonderful. Oh, you can't hear me again. Okay. All right, well then I'm just going to continue because I expected some interference this morning with the way that we've been communicating on WhatsApp. Because when I communicate on WhatsApp, what I'm doing here, there's always a technical glitch, and then something happens. So I'm not surprised, but we're going to continue because I will send you the recording at the end. So if you can't hear, just send me an email and say that you couldn't hear the last bit or whatever, and then I'll send you the recording. So everyone goes through times of feeling blue about their shortcomings, about their self-pity motivators. You feel blue, and that blueness feels like a depression. And look at the word depressed. The word depressed means deep rest. Deep rest, deep rest. So your body needs a deep rest. So that blueness, that depression that you feel, just go and have a good rest and restore and revitalize yourself. The first step is not to harass yourself. It's okay to have fallen short. It only becomes a problem if it stops you from moving forward, from the how, from stepping into the doing. Because everything here is about movement and doing. So the second step is to realize that entertaining regret accomplishes nothing more than sending you lower. So the further down, the further you spiral down into the lower, everything in the cosmos is a spiral. And when you spiral down into the lower, you allow yourself to slide away on the downward spiral, and the harder it is to come back. In the end, your regret is a waste of energy. One of the best things to know about experiencing low times is that they pass. They're not going to be here forever. Low times pass. And as surely as they come, they do go away. It's just a matter of time. As long as you do not make negative decisions about the how you're going to do things based on self-pity, making your body ill, negative destiny decisions in your low times, you will ride them out and emerge the winner for doing so. And not only will you be the winner, you will be the inspiration, because your life will be the example. And as Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see, and allow yourself, give yourself permission to start with patience. So turn doubt into dreams and fears into excitement. That's the same for the brain. It knows no difference. So I say for me this morning, for those of you that can still hear me, I'm free to learn, and I'm free to lean. So I'm saying that again. I'm free to lean upon divine power within me. And this sacred energy supports me in all ways. So I'm going to say that again. I see the interference with my sound. I'm free to lean upon divine power within me, and this sacred energy supports me in all ways. And that's my story for this morning. Go forward with wonderful sense of being, of togetherness, of empowerment, and go and be very good to yourself. And thank you so much for your presence this morning, and for coming here to share this moment with me, and for offering your presence to life in this, what we've shared, so that it can be your realizations, the insights that you've had will amplify this and will send it out as ripples into the cosmos.